So then, welcome back to Grade 11 Accounting. In this video, we're going to look at a question on partnership, which is on June 2022. So this question is on McAdam Source, and it reads the information below was taken from the books of McAdam Source, partners A. Mark and C. Adam. Their financial year ends annual on 28th February. And on the required part, we are just going to look at part 2.1, and also we are going to look at part 2.2. So 2.1 reads calculate the interest on capital for Mark and Adam, and it's got 10 marks. And 2.2 also calculate the drawings for the year for Mark, and it's got 5 marks. So on the first part, on calculation of the interest on capital for Mark and Adam, so we can just try to see where we have the partnership agreement terms. That's where we are going to see the terms of which we are going to apply on the calculation of interest on capital. So if you come here, it reads on this point, it reads interest on capital is calculated as follows. Given that first point reads 8% per annum if the total capital contribution is less than 100,000 rands, and then 10% per annum if the total capital contribution is 100,000 rands or more, which is very clear. So what it means is if we have got the capital balance which is more than 100,000, we are going to apply 10%. But if it's less than, we're going to apply 8%, which is very clear. Then you go to the notes. I believe that it reads at the first point, a mark increased this capital contribution by 100,000 on 1 December 2021. This was properly recorded at the time. So what it means is the balance that we are given at the beginning of the question is the balance at the end. And but we are told that on 1 December 2021, there was a capital contribution that was introduced of 100,000. So it means the balance that started at the beginning of the year is going to be less by 100,000, because this 100,000 came along the year. So another very important thing to note is that you have to take note of the financial year, where it is starting and where it is ending. Remember, this capital introduction came during the year, so you need to know how many months was 100,000 in the business, and we can then make a proportion in terms of the months that are in relation. So if you go back there, you see that the capital balance that were given at the beginning of the year, according to the question, we can just try to see what balance do we have at the beginning of the year. So if you come here, you see that we are given the capital balance at the beginning of the year is for Mark is 200,000, but we are told that there's one that was introduced during the year of 100,000. So it means this balance that we are given, sorry, is at the end of the year, which is on 28 February 2022. So what we are going to do is we are going to less this 100,000 that was introduced along the year, which is on 1 December. So if you less there, we're going to get 100,000. So what it means this 100,000 was the balance that was there at the beginning of the year. It was the balance that we are given here at the end of the year. Since we have 100,000 at the beginning of the year, it means also it applies for the 10% that is said. If it's more than 100,000, it's going to apply 10%. So if you go back to our explanation, it is saying 10% per annum if total contribution is 100,000, then 8% per annum if total contribution is less than 100,000. So it means that 100,000 is also going to apply for 10%. So then we count the number of months that this 100,000 that we had at the beginning of the year is applied to. So if you come here, you see that this 100,000 was introduced on 1 December. So it means before it was introduced with how many months? Remember, our year is ending on. Let's just try to check the dates. It's ending on 20th February 2022. So it means our year started on 1 March 2021. So our financial year is starting from 1 March 2021 and ending on 28th February 2022. Very important to take note. and we are told that the new capital was introduced on 1 December. So it means the 100,000 that we had at the beginning stayed March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. Then on 1 December, there was another contribution. So we call the number of months 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we had 9 months before the introduction of the new contribution. So what it means is we are going to make a proportion of this 100,000 for 9 months. Remember, the rate that we are given is going to apply for the whole year. So what we are going to do, we come here, we are going to say our 10%, this 100,000 at the beginning of the year, so to apply for 10%, and then we make a proportion of 9 months. So what we are going to do now, we can just say this is for Mark. So we are going to say for Mark. Remember, we're saying it's 10%, so we are saying 10 over 100 is a percent, and then we multiply by the 100,000 that we had at the beginning of the year. And then when we multiply like this, we get an annual figure of 12 months. But we want to make a proportion of 9 months that we had at 100,000, we multiply by 9 over 4. And obviously, the answer that we are going to get there, let's try to calculate, you are going to get 7,500. So this is 7,500 for the first 9 months. So what does it mean? It means the remainder of the year. Remember, we have got 12 months in a year. So what it means we are now saying 12 minus 9 equals to 3. So these 3 months are going to apply for the second period from 1 December to 20th February, where the year is ending. In other words, we are saying December, January, February, which is equal to 3. So these 3 months is going to apply after the contribution of this 100,000, which means we had now 100,000 plus 100,000, which is 200,000, which is the balance that we are given at the end of the year, at the beginning of the question, which is this one. So this 200,000 is going to apply only for 3 months. And we are given the rate is 10%. Remember, 200,000 is more than 100,000, so 10% is going to apply for 200,000. So if we come here, we are now saying for the second period now, we are now calculating it as 10 over 100. And then we multiply by 200,000 because it was now 200,000 for 3 months. And then we multiply by 3 over 12. See that the answer that we are going to get there is 5,000. Then to find the total for Mark, we are now saying 7,500, and then we get 5,000. And then obviously the other number we are going to get there is 12,500. So this is what we have for Mark. So remember, we also have Adam, so we can try to calculate also for Adam because we have got the explanation that we have there for Adam. So for Adam, it reads see Adam decreased his capital contribution by 20,000 rand on 1 September 2021. This is not been recorded. So if you come here, the balance that we are given there, if you come here at the beginning of the question, you'll see that we are given it as 100,000, which is at the end of the year. So what we are going to do here, let's try to see, since we are being told that there's a decrease of 20,000. So what it means is since we are having a balance of 100,000, which was already decreased by 20,000, it means at the beginning of the year, and since this balance that we are given there are representing at the end of the year, we are saying at the beginning of the year, since this one was already reduced by 20,000, so we are going to say at the beginning we had 100,000 plus 20,000. And obviously, we are now going to get 120,000. So this is the balance that we had at the beginning of the year. So for our calculation, we are just going to go there and say for the first part, before it was decreased, it was 120,000, and 120,000 is greater than 100,000, so 10% is going to apply. So we're going to say 10%, 10%, we're going to say 10% there, and then we say, let's try to see, We are going to say 10%, 10%, which is 10 over 100, and then we multiply by our 120 before it was reduced, and then we get the annual for 1 year, and then we are going to reduce it for the number of months that we had 120,000. Remember, this adjustment took place on 1 September. So we are going to count how many months did we have there from beginning of the year. Remember, the year is starting on 1 March. So we are saying March, April, May, June, July, August. Then on 1 September, there was an introduction that was there. So the number of months that we have there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got 6 months. So obviously we have 12 months in a year. So we're going to multiply by 6 over 12. And then if you do that, you see that the answer that we are going to get is 6,000. That was before it was reduced. Then after it was reduced, it was now 100,000. So we are now saying again 100,000 again is going to apply for 10%. So we're going to say 10 over 100, and then we multiply by 100,000. And obviously you multiply again by 6 over 12. Remember, if you say 12 months in a year minus the 6 months for the first part, you also get 6 months. So if you multiply there, we are going to get 5,000. And for the total now, we are just going to add the 2. For the total, we are not just going to add the 2, whereby we are saying total is now equal to 6,000 plus 5,000. And then obviously we are going to get 11,000. So this is what we have for the second part. And then now we go to the second part of the question. The second part of the question requires us to calculate the drawings. If you go there at the beginning of the question, we're being told that on 2.2 is saying calculate the drawings for the year for Mark. So we go again on the additional information to see what are they saying about drawings. So the information that we have in terms of the drawings of Mark is on item D, and it reads a Mark will draw the following during the year. So on the first point, saying an EFT at the end of each month for his salary according to the partnership agreement. Then at the second point, cash 4,770 rands, which is very clear. And then last point, trading stock with a cost price of 8,794 personal use. So these are the 3 different forms of drawings that took place for Mark. So what we're going to do is we are just going to say 4,770 plus 8,790. Then we find out about the EFT, which is at the end of each month for his salary according to the partnership agreement. So we are going to see that we are going to look for the EFT that took place for his salary. We're just going to look for the figure that we have, and then obviously we be a monthly, then we multiply by 12 to get the annual. Then the annual that we get is 4,670, and then if you again to 8,790. So if you come back here, we want to see what that salary was that was taken as in the form of EFT. So if you come here, you see that in all the partnership agreements, we are told that partners will receive the following salary 6,700 per month for Mark. So remember, we're only calculating for Mark. So we are taking 6,700 rands per month, and we multiply it by 4. So we go back there. We are now saying 6,700 times 4, which is applying to the first point. So we are saying 6,000 700, then we multiply by 4. Obviously, the answer that we are going to get there is 80,400. And then for the second part, obviously, we also have 4,670, which we are supposed to add there. 4,670. And we also have trading stock the cost price of 8,790. So we have got 8,790. Then we are just going to add 3. Then the answer that we are going to get there will represent the total drawings. So if you add them, you see that we are going to get 93,707. So this represents the total drawings for Mark. So this is what we have, guys, in terms of the second part of the calculation of drawings. Let's stay tuned for more videos as we prepare for exams. As for this video, I'm signing out.